Herbs are one of the cheapest ways to transform your cooking. A handful of leaves can turn a bland pot of rice into something that tastes like a memory. But herbs are not interchangeable green confetti. Each one carries its own chemistry, its own cooking technique, and its own distinct flavor. Here is every herb explained. Basil has a sweet and slightly peppery taste, with a background note of anise and clove that varies wildly depending on which of its 60-plus varieties you're using. Sweet basil, the type in nearly every grocery store, is the backbone of pesto, caprese salad, and pretty much all of Italian tomato cookery. Thai basil, which has a spicier, more anise-forward bite, is built for stir-fries and holds up better under high heat, which is exactly why it survives in a bowl of pho instead of wilting into mush. The single most important rule with basil is timing. Heat destroys its flavor almost instantly, so it goes in at the very last second. It's torn by hand rather than chopped with a knife, which bruises the leaves and turns them black. Basil also pairs surprisingly well outside of Italian cooking, showing up with strawberries, peaches, and even chocolate in desserts, since its sweetness has more range than people give it credit for. Rosemary. Rosemary is piney, resinous, and assertive enough to survive a long trip through a hot oven without losing its punch. This is exactly why it's built for roasting rather than finishing. Whole sprigs tucked under a chicken, threaded through lamb, or tossed in with roasting potatoes release their oils slowly, perfuming the whole dish rather than overwhelming a single bite. It's also strong enough to double as a skewer. Threading shrimp or vegetables onto a stripped rosemary stem gets you flavor and presentation in one move. Because the leaves are essentially small woody needles, rosemary needs to be minced fine or used as a whole sprig you remove before serving. Biting into an intact piece is an unpleasant, twiggy surprise. Thyme is the single most versatile herb in the rack, largely because, unlike basil or parsley, it actually improves with long, slow cooking. Its earthy, faintly minty, slightly bitter flavor comes from thymol, and that flavor only deepens the longer it simmers in a stew, braise, or stock. This is why thyme shows up in the French bouquet garni. It's tied together with parsley and bay leaf and simmered for hours in soups and sauces before being fished back out. Fresh thyme is typically added whole, sprig, and all. The tiny leaves fall off the woody stem naturally during cooking, and the bare stem gets pulled before serving. As a substitution rule, 1 teaspoon of dried thyme equals about 1 tablespoon of fresh, so dried works in a pinch without wrecking the dish. Oregano is sharp, peppery, and pungent thanks to high concentrations of carvacrol. And it's one of the only herbs that actually gets more intense when dried rather than less. That's the opposite of basil and parsley, which is why dried oregano is the standard in pizza sauce, marinara, and Italian seasoning blends. A pinch crushed between your palms before sprinkling releases even more of the essential oil sitting inside the leaf. Fresh oregano has a milder, slightly citrusy edge and works well in Greek salads, alongside feta and olives. Or rubbed onto meat before grilling, especially lamb, chicken, and gyros. Sage has a bold, earthy, slightly peppery flavor with a hint of pine, and it is strong enough that a few leaves can flavor an entire dish. Its natural partner is fat. Pork, duck, sausage, and brown butter all soften sage's intensity into something rounder and more savory. That is exactly why it's the backbone of Thanksgiving stuffing and the star of Italian saltimbocca, where whole leaves are pan-fried with butter until crisp and almost lacy. Frying sage leaves briefly in hot oil or butter is one of the best tricks in the herb world. It turns the leaf crunchy and mellows out the bitterness, making it a garnish for pasta, gnocchi, or squash dishes. Mint's cooling, sweet, faintly peppery flavor makes it one of the few herbs that crosses easily between savory and sweet cooking. On the savory side, it's essential in Middle Eastern dishes like tabbouleh, in Greek and Turkish lamb preparations, and in South and Southeast Asian dishes, where it's paired with cilantro and chiles for balance. On the drink and dessert side, it's the backbone of mojitos, mint juleps, and anything involving chocolate or citrus. There are more than 24 species, including peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint, and apple mint, each with a slightly different intensity. Spearmint is the gentler, more commonly cooked with variety, while peppermint's sharper menthol punch is better suited to drinks and desserts. Mint is best added at the very end or used raw, since heat flattens its bright, cooling quality fast. Cilantro's bright, citrusy, slightly peppery flavor is the backbone of Mexican, Indian, Thai, and Vietnamese cooking. It is used in salsas, curries, chutneys, and as a raw garnish over just about anything that needs a fresh finish. It's almost always used raw or added at the very last second, since cooking mutes its flavor quickly. The stems, often thrown away, actually carry a lot of flavor and can be finely chopped into salsas and sauces right alongside the leaves. Worth knowing before you cook with it, a portion of the population, thanks to a specific gene variant, perceives cilantro's aldehyde compounds as soapy rather than fresh. If you're cooking for a crowd, it's worth checking before dumping a full cup into the guacamole. For those it doesn't affect, cilantro pairs beautifully with lime, chile, coconut milk, and grilled meats. Parsley is grassy, slightly peppery, and far more useful than its reputation as a garnish suggests. Flat-leaf Italian parsley carries a noticeably stronger flavor than curly parsley and is the one professional cooks reach for when parsley is actually meant to season a dish rather than decorate the plate. It's a foundational herb in French cooking, showing up in bouquet garni, persillade, and the classic parsley cream sauce served over fish and vegetables. It's also central to Italian salsa verde, a bright garlicky sauce built around parsley, capers, and anchovies that works over grilled meats and roasted vegetables. And to Middle Eastern tabbouleh, where it's actually the main ingredient rather than a side note. Because its flavor is fresh but not fragile, parsley can be added earlier in cooking than basil or cilantro without losing much punch. And it also does double duty as a natural breath freshener thanks to its chlorophyll content. Dill has a bright, slightly grassy, faintly anise flavor. Its most famous job is right there in the name, the dill pickle. Both the feathery fronds, known as dillweed, and the seeds are used in cooking, but they taste noticeably different. The fronds are lighter and more delicate, while the seeds carry a more concentrated, warmer flavor closer to caraway, which is why pickling brines often use both together. Beyond pickles, dill is essential in Nordic cooking, especially with salmon and other fish. It is used in gravlax and cream-based fish sauces. It's also a key player in Eastern European dishes like borscht and in Greek tzatziki, where it cuts through the richness of yogurt and cucumber. Dill is delicate and best added toward the end of cooking or used raw, since prolonged heat mutes its flavor fast. Tarragon has a distinct anise, licorice-like flavor, thanks to a compound called estragon. It is one of the most important herbs in French cooking, specifically because of that flavor. It's the star ingredient in béarnaise sauce, one of the 5 French mother sauce derivatives. It is also a core component of Fines herbs, the classic French seasoning blend used in omelets, chicken dishes, and cream sauces. Because its flavor is strong and distinctive, tarragon is used with a lighter hand than herbs like basil or parsley. Too much and it overwhelms everything else on the plate. It pairs especially well with chicken, fish, eggs, and mushrooms. Tarragon vinegar, made by steeping bruised sprigs in vinegar, is a simple way to bottle its flavor for salad dressings and sauces year-round. Chives deliver a mild, delicate onion flavor without any of the sharpness of raw onion or garlic, which makes them useful anywhere you want a whisper of allium rather than a shout. They're a permanent member of French Fines herbs alongside parsley, tarragon, and chervil. Chives can be paired with sour cream over a baked potato, folded into scrambled eggs, or scattered over soups right before serving. Because their flavor is so fragile, chives should always be added at the very last moment. Snip them fresh with scissors rather than cooking directly into the dish. Heat destroys their delicate onion notes almost immediately. The edible purple flowers can be tossed into salads or steeped in vinegar for a subtly oniony, pale pink-infused vinegar. They also pair naturally with cream cheese, seafood, and potatoes, and are one of the easiest herbs to snip fresh right off a windowsill plant. Bay leaf. Bay leaf has a woody, slightly bitter, almost tea-like aroma, and it works entirely differently from almost every other herb. It's simmered whole and never eaten, dropped into stews, stocks, braises, rice dishes, and bean pots. A bay leaf slowly releases its aromatic oils over a long cook time, then gets fished out and discarded before the dish is served. It's a foundational part of the French bouquet garni alongside thyme and parsley. And it is used in classic braises, tomato sauces, and pickling brines, where its slightly bitter edge balances out sweeter or richer ingredients. Because the flavor builds slowly, bay leaf needs time to work. Tossing one into a fast-cooking dish barely does anything, while a few hours in a simmering pot lets it fully open up. One leaf is usually plenty for a full pot, since its flavor is more about background depth than a forward noticeable taste.